All right, next up we've got a interesting sort of scenario slash cautionary tale. This one says my squat estimated 1 rep max has increased 48 pounds in the last month. Wow. Then I did front squats after a month of not doing them and being sick for the last week, and my front squat had increased by about 20 pounds, and then it was still only an 8 RPE, working my way up to a 9. Then I pulled something in my back. My logic is increase in front squat due to a fast increase in my back squat, but without the benefit of increased stabilizing strength needed to front squat, hence pulled muscle in the back. I hardly ever had back issues until now. Also, me hardly ever doing ab work may be the culprit. Is it sometimes bad to increase strength too quickly? Since I'm not competing yet and my time is on my side. In situations like this, is it advisable to throttle back on the weight increases and do 8 RPE even if the program says 9? I'll make sure I'm getting plenty of GPP twice a week, like I already should be, but I'm not. Anyway, first of all, that's both awesome and bad at the same time. To put 48 pounds on your squat in a month is incredible. But then, it sucks being hurt. I know that. Can you increase strength too quickly? Yeah, you can. And I know some coaches who I respect a great deal, they kind of have an upper limit on how much they'll allow their athletes, how much stronger they'll allow their athletes to get in a year, say. But it's hard to determine where that line is, and it's hard to determine where that line is for each athlete, each level of athlete, and so on. I don't know that it's like a lack of stabilizer strength that caused your issue. Sometimes these things just happen, and I know that. Look, I'm like this, especially whenever I have an injury. I would love for there to be a concrete cause. I did X, therefore I got hurt. But that's not always the case. Sometimes they just happen. It's a wear and tear thing. Believe it or not, your muscles and connective tissue are materials, and they suffer from material fatigue like everything else. There's a recovery aspect there as well. But, with high volume training, like what you're doing, plus getting a lot stronger in a short period of time, it could be just a material fatigue issue. Like it was something that was bound to happen. It's not the end of the world, though. If it's a simple muscle strain, you'll be back from it in a few weeks. Your strength will be down a bit, but that's all right. You come back. You'll come back in another couple weeks. It's not anything that anyone wants to happen, and it is training time wasted. But you seem like you're getting a lot stronger anyway. I think you're going to come through this no worse for wear. In terms of kind of your questions are how to prevent this, what to do about it. If you're gaining strength that quickly, like that's a lot of strength gain, 48 pounds on your squat in a month. It's not totally clear that should, it's possible that increases your injury risk, but that does not mean that it's a guarantee of injury. It's not like, I got a lot stronger in a short amount of time. I better pull the throttle back so I don't get injured. I'm thinking that if your injury risk is normally here, then it might go up to here. It's a small functional change. It's maybe enough that you would want to throttle back just a little bit, but it doesn't have to be a great deal. I'm not sure that I would go all the way from, saying, well, if the program calls for 9 RPEs, I'm only going to go to 8s just to be safe. Maybe half of that, maybe you go to a conservative 9 or an 8.5 or something like that. But in this case, I don't think that would have helped, because you said your front squat, the set that you got injured on, was an 8 RPE. So just some things to think about, I guess. Not all injuries are 100% preventable if we're pursuing this as a sport and we're pursuing this with the direct intention to get stronger. If injuries are coming as a result of you adding 50 pounds to your squat in a month, then we can deal with those. If it gets to be on a recurring basis or something like that, then we'll take more directed action. But for now, I think you should just do some reintroduction work. You'll be back before you know it. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's really more or less all I can tell you to do at this point. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to downplay your injury. Like I said, I know that it sucks being hurt, and I'm not discounting that. It's just that I don't think in this case that there's a whole lot that we can do, and I think maybe assuming that we can prevent it is not entirely justified. So there are past calls that talk about reintroduction protocols. I would definitely advise you to take a look at some of that stuff. Work on reintroduction, and I think you'll be back to training in a couple weeks at the most.